What I liked most about working with Zone Networks was building relationship with Mitesh and his team. To me, it's quite an important aspect of doing a tender on this scale with the complexities we've got, because as soon as you lift a roof tile, or ceiling tile rather, you don't know what you're going to see. And it's impossible for a company to predict their costs based upon, you can't possibly do a complete survey of a college and then predict what your costs are going to be. So I knew from the outset that there had to be a lot of give and take and flexibility on both parts. And I had to have an awareness that there are likely to be additional costs, and therefore trust was a real key aspect in that relationship, especially with a company that I hadn't got an existing relationship with. And I got that impression from Mitesh very early on. He seemed to acknowledge what my concerns were, mirrored back the fact that he needed almost the same. We found to be, I think we found a reciprocal way of working that allowed both of us to benefit from our own flexibility. The other thing that was really turned out to be important, but I wasn't aware of until I worked with Zone Networks, was I could point you at the problem and you just got on with it and got it done. So there was very little input required from me. It's only where there were issues, and some of those issues were driven by the surveys. And we'd paid for a company to do a comprehensive survey, and there were mistakes in it. And so those kind of things you've got to overcome on the fly. So whilst you're working through the project, you've got to work with each other to come up with a solution. And from that point of view, that was probably the thing that I valued most. So we provided access to the engineers, sometimes at weekends or in the evenings. I was able to get an idea of a schedule that Zone Networks wanted to work towards. I was able to make sure the college was accessible to them, but it did require working over bank holidays, weekends, evenings to get the job done. And ultimately, we achieved the project on time. And that's where the initial communication with Mitesh was really key. It took quite a leap of faith for me to engage with a new company based around the response to a tender. But in reality, very quickly I was able to build a relationship with Mitesh, who did understand the challenge, and it became quite clear very early on that some of the challenges we faced weren't challenges for Mitesh and his team. They were left to their own. They ran the cables with very little feedback to myself. And I was always amazed that I'd go back on site, go to check on progress, and I'd walk around the college and see access points in locations where days before the cables weren't even there. We don't expect anything for free. We just expect good value, and that's what we got. So during the course of the project, there was extra work that we asked Zone Networks to carry out for us. It became apparent that running some additional network points for our building management system and security system were important. It was very easy for me to add that into the project, and it became clear that it wasn't a problem to add the work in, and ultimately it solved a problem that I'd had for a while, and it just got taken away as part of the project.